Welcome everybody back to the Infinity Travel AZ Studios. I have Kevin back again with me from African Travel, and today he's going to talk to us about Rwanda. How are you today, Kevin?
Cindy, I am absolutely fantastic, and I'm so thrilled to have the opportunity to be here with you to talk about one of my favorite countries in all of Africa. So, you've heard from previous that I'm very passionate about Africa. I love all the countries in Africa, but this one truly, truly is for me something very, very special, and I absolutely love it. And I hope your clients and your travelers will do too, and that we can inspire them to go do something really quite different and off the beaten track a bit that so many people have not yet done when they travel. So it's cool.
Sounds good to me.
Excellent. And hey, Cindy, you and I have got to get there as well. We've got to get you there too. It's like you'll
exactly.
love it. You and your husband, you're the adventure kind, you types, you're gonna love it. So
exactly. So
cool. All right. So, as I said, just absolutely thrilled to have that opportunity to be with you. And Cindy, we appreciate so much your partnership and how you and us can work together to bring and create these absolutely perfect life-changing experiences to what truly is a dream destination in Africa. So, talking about Africa, today we're going to go to Rwanda. It is one of the smallest countries on the continent of Africa. But my gosh, it packs a massive, massive punch. It's the impression that it leaves on everybody is truly, truly remarkable. It's a beautiful country. It's fascinating. It's known as the land of 1,000 hills, which is, I always think, kind of drums up this exoticism before we even get there. It's kind of fun. And it has just stunning scenery. It's warm, friendly people, and it just offers these very unique experiences in one of the most remarkable countries, if not only in Africa, on the planet. It's really blessed with extraordinary biodiversity, incredible wildlife throughout the volcanoes, the mountains, the rainforests, and even on the sweeping plains. It has a little bit of everything that we expect to find in Africa, which is so cool. So there are 13 species of primates in Rwanda. And of course, the most famous of those are the gorillas. That's really what Rwanda has been best known for over the years. But we've got a couple of surprises coming up to go with the gorillas. Because not only is it gorillas, but it's also home to chimpanzees, to colobus monkeys, to golden monkeys, to baboons, and a whole host of others. And many of these species of baboons, of course, we see all over Africa, but many of these species are found nowhere else but in Rwanda. So the opportunity to see things that you just wouldn't find anywhere else in Africa or on the planet is absolutely, truly remarkable. And as I said, for the longest time, Rwanda really was considered for the gorillas. That's what everybody went to Rwanda for. But it actually has the most amazing traditional safari experiences, and most people just don't realize that. So in the eastern part of the country, we have the ability to go, and we'll talk about just exactly where in a second. But it's got this incredible array of cultural treasures and nature, and just as I say, some of the most amazing traditional safari experiences, as well as the gorilla trekking. And birds. Rwanda is home to 700 species of birds. And as you can see, color reigns supreme here. We talked a little bit about that with Madagascar. And yes, it's funny, these little countries, they just attract all the colorful animals, which is always so cool. And actually, in Rwanda, they have the highest count of bird species on the whole continent, despite being one of the smallest country on the continent, which I think is absolutely amazing. And of course, yes, people are going to come for the gorillas. Now you've heard me talk about the traditional safari animals. So yes, everybody goes to Africa predominantly for the wildlife. But truly, Cindy, it's the people who are going to steal your heart. They are so friendly and they are so welcoming. And what's really important about Rwanda is your clients are going to be so safe traveling to Rwanda. Rwanda is considered to be the safest country in all of Africa and the 5th safest country in the world. So it's really amazing. It's truly incredible. There's so much going for this little pack of country. And of course, conservation, one of the most important things in Rwanda. They are leading the way in Africa with conservation. It's the first country in Africa to ban one-time use of one-time plastics. So you actually, a very good tip for anybody that is thinking of traveling is you cannot arrive with a plastic bag. You know, a shopping bag we would get at the supermarket. Sometimes people put it, they throw their medications in it or something. You are not allowed. Those are banned in Rwanda. So you cannot have one in your luggage when you arrive. And they do scan the luggage looking for it. So they're very, very particular about this. So it's just amazing. They are very forward thinking. And it's just incredible for such a small country. The other conservation project that I personally am very involved with and I think is great is the One Tree Planted. So every year there is a commitment to plant 10,000 trees in Rwanda. Interestingly enough, this project also extends further out into Tanzania and Uganda and so on, but Rwanda were the people that led it. And actually, we have a program now, Cindy, where if any of your clients travel and they opt to take electronic documents instead of paper documents, we will actually plant a tree for them in their name in either Rwanda or Tanzania.
Oh,
So it's really a great way to, for a very simple thing, because we found, yes, everybody goes, oh, it's kind of cool, but, everybody leaves those documents at home and whatever. You've got a copy on your phone. You can follow it very easily. We're with you 24/7. The guides are with you all the time. So they're always reminding you what's happening today, what's happening tomorrow, what to expect, where we're going, and so on. So we just really found that need for paper is getting less and less and less. And so we really encourage people to follow along with that. And in doing so, do a lot of good for the planet, which is really kind of fun.
definitely.
So when we talk about the gorillas, this is a success story, which I'm very glad to report about, because there has been an increase in mountain gorillas. About 5 years ago, there were only about 800 left in the wild. That number has now increased to over 1,000. So we are still talking very small numbers, not many of them, but the number is going the right direction.
Yeah.
Which is really great, thank goodness, because they are now one of the most protected species in all of Africa. So another great news story, because otherwise they would have been gone and we wouldn't be talking about this today and you wouldn't have the opportunity to go to Rwanda and trek with them. And because the poaching of them, and many people probably remember Diane Fossey and her story and the tragedies that have happened and how it was terrible. They would kill the gorillas, cut off their paws, their hands, and turn them into ashtrays.
Oh,
That's what they were doing. I mean, and sell them as tourist, knickknack. Oh, it was just awful.
that's
So
awful.
absolutely terrible. Just frightening. It's so sad to think that that's what was going on. So luckily that has now been reversed. It's all been put on, been a stop put to it. And what's really quite interesting is that so many of the rangers and guides who lead the trekking now, they used to be the poachers and they've been converted and they've realized that, by keeping these animals alive, there's so much more value in them as live creatures than there ever was when they took them out of the wild. So it's a really good story. As I say, still small numbers, but truly a success story and continuing and hoping that will continue to be the case. It's making such a difference right now. So I
Good.
want to show you how to enjoy the best of Rwanda, because as I said, it's not only about the gorillas, and we'll get back to the gorillas in a second. But let's start in Kigali, which is the capital city of the country. You can fly in here from various different points in East Africa. Not a lot of international service, and I'll talk a little bit about that later on. But what's really interesting about Kigali is this is actually the cleanest city in all of Africa. They have a government decrees that on the last Saturday of every month, every able-bodied person must come out and clean the city. Now, they actually do this in memory of, you may remember, Cindy, about 35 years ago, there was a genocide in Rwanda. And that has all been put behind them now. But in memory of those people and that very turbulent time in the country's history, the government has decreed that they will come out and clean the city in memory of these people. And people are so proud of it. Lots of them come out every Saturday and clean the city. So that's something we get from everything. Wow, this is the
Yeah.
cleanest city. One of the cleanest cities I've ever seen anywhere in the world. It's truly, truly remarkable. And it's a great thing. And the community really comes together. Rwanda is very much a community-centric society, and they help each other at every turn. You'll find that when you visit there. That's really cool. And then from Kigali, we go by road and we go off to the eastern area of the country into Akagera National Park. So um, Akagera is where I told you that, this is where we'll get that more traditional safari experience. So here we're seeing our, giraffes and our zebras, and it's got that big five experience. And it's one of Africa's largest protected wetlands and wildlands. So they've just done an absolutely fantastic job with that as well. And here we love to stay at the Magashi camp. So this is that glamping again that we've talked about, how, yes, it's a tent, but my gosh, it's not like a tent that almost anybody has in their mind's eye. And it just has it's got a beautiful setting, and it's got these uninterrupted views over, I can never get my tongue around this, Rwani Kazinga Lake. Rwani Kazinga Lake. It's like, that's always a challenge for everybody. By the time they come home, they have to be able to know how to say that 3 times fast. It's like Rwani. But it is a truly, truly beautiful setting set in the forest here, and it's just fantastic. And here we've got those day or night game viewing. The plains in this area, as I mentioned, absolutely teeming with wildlife. And it offers this area has a fantastic population of lions and black rhinos. So if rhinos on the wish list, we can make it happen here. They've also got a lot of leopards here, by the way, too. So this truly is that all-round safari experience that people just don't expect when they think of Rwanda. And this is really kind of a hidden gem, just so unknown. People just are not familiar at all. And yet it allows us to be able to provide that traditional safari experience in Rwanda, which is great. So then from Akagera, we're going to go on to my tongue is really playing havoc with me today, Cindy. In Nyungwe National Park. So this is actually one of the oldest rainforests in all of Africa. It's really, really beautiful. It's a very different look to anything. This is kind of the Africa almost of the Tarzan movies, the very thick jungle and whatever that a lot of people think is Africa, but when you get to the savannas of East Africa, it's not like that at all. But here it absolutely is, and this is what we've got here. So this is the largest protected rainforest in all of Africa, and it actually has one of the most diverse primate populations, which clearly is a big theme for traveling here in Rwanda. One of the great things to do here is once you get into the park and we get settled and whatever, because everything in Rwanda is going to be all about adventure and moving around and activity and so on. But one of the best things that anybody could ever do anywhere in Africa is to take the canopy hike in this part of Rwanda. So it's actually about a 2-hour hike just to get to the canopy in the first place.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it is certainly, there is some walking involved here. But then once you get there, this bridge is suspended 230 feet over the floor of the jungle. And there's just amazing up here. You've got butterflies abundant, orchids, those birds that we saw, lots of beautiful, colorful birds here. And a lot of those are actually only found in this part of Rwanda. They're endemic to this region. So it's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
And there are monkeys here, of course, in the trees, but things like blue monkeys. Who ever heard of blue monkeys? We have them in Rwanda. It's really cool. And the colobus monkeys and the red-tailed monkeys. Great, all these species of primate. It's really, really cool, really fun. And actually, this is one of the few places in the world where you can see black and white colobus monkeys in their natural habitat. They're, again, a very highly endangered species. But look at that baby. I just love its eyes. Wow, they're so, they're just like typical babies. They're so, so interested.
He's so cute.
They really are. And actually in this area, Nyungwe is also home to East Africa's largest intact natural chimpanzee environment. This is one of those things I always say, when we think of Africa, we don't always necessarily immediately think of chimpanzees. But when we think of chimpanzees, immediately we think of Africa. So this is one of the very, very few places in Africa you have the opportunity to see chimpanzees. And we're also familiar with them, so it's really cool to be able to see them in their natural habitat,
Yeah.
which is really kind of fun. And so during the day, yes, we're out, we're adventuring, we're doing some hiking. And you don't have to do the hiking, but it's really kind of a destination where it just, if you really want to get the full all-round experience, you've got to be prepared and ready to do some hiking. There's a certain level of fitness required to visit Rwanda. But one of the great things about it is that when you come back at nighttime, you are back in that absolute luxury, the lap of luxury. So this is one and only Nyongi house, and it is true luxury. This is 5 stars all the way. And it's interesting because it's actually set right in the middle of a tea plantation. So this is, and it's right on the edge of the rainforest, so it's very close to everything. But it is actually part of a working tea plantation, which is kind of fun. So as I said, this is very, very luxurious. It only has 22 rooms, so it's very boutique, very small. You really are, in a very exclusive, intimate environment when you're staying here, and it's absolute comfort at the end of that day of being out. And what's really fun is actually to be able to learn something about tea while you're here. So,
Yeah.
another surprise. It's like, who thought I was going to Rwanda to learn about tea? And they have the tea plantation tour, and it'll be with a tea expert, and you're going to learn how to make the perfect cup of tea. It's really fun. They have it, and as you can see, they kind of make fun, do fun with it outside in the middle of the tea. And it's really interesting because actually Rwanda tea is very, very high quality, and it really is considered to be some of the best tea in the whole world.
Wow.
So, and guess what? Makes a great thing to bring home and give out to your neighbors and family, or keep for yourself. Tea leaves. It's a
Exactly.
great way to do it. So it's really kind of fun. So then from the Nyungwe region, we're going to go up to Volcanoes National Park. And this is what we've all been waiting for. And actually to get between the two, from the southeast point of the country up to Volcanoes in the north there, you can either fly. It's a very short flight, about an hour and a half, or you can drive. The drive is actually about 6 hours. But I think it's kind of fun because you really get the opportunity to see some of rural Rwanda that's away from these main forests and so on. And so it's really kind of cool. And we drive right past Lake Kivu, which has hundreds and hundreds of islands in it. It's stunningly, stunningly beautiful. And you get to see everyday life. You can see bananas are actually a big cash crop here too. But how they balance them on bicycles and their heads and these sort of things. So I personally think the drive is worth it because, yes, it's a full day, but you just really get to see just something more of Rwanda that you really wouldn't be able to see at all.
Yeah, I agree.
So once we get to Volcanoes Park, the highlight of this now is the gorilla trekking. This is what we all kind of came for. And, it's all about spending that very, very precious hour or two with the gorillas. There are actually currently 10 gorilla families living in Volcanoes National Park, and they're only allowed 8 people per day to go and visit the gorillas, and that's it. So 8 permits per family, per gorilla family, are issued, and it's only one set of 8 per day. It's not like they take 8 in, take 8 out, and replace them with another 8. Only 8 a day. And you actually, once you get to the gorillas, you only spend 1 hour with them, and the other 23 hours of the day, they are left alone to do their thing. So, and it's because it's only 8 people that per family per day. There's very few people in the world that actually really have had this opportunity. Now, I could talk half an hour just on the whole gorilla trekking experience itself and how they decide, but suffice to say, the point of it is that we try very hard to to get a feel. We're going to be talking to you and to the client a lot before departing, before even going to Africa, because we want to know just what exactly is the level of mobility, what is, how active can you be? And then gorilla families are assigned based on that. While you're in Rwanda, your guide will be watching and kind of taking some notes to verify that the pre-information is actually correct. And then on the morning of the gorilla trek, again, you will go and you'll be met by the gorilla trek people themselves, those who are doing it, and you'll be assigned into a group. It's basically been pre-assigned based on the information being shared, but that's a chance to make any last minute changes and go, oh, or you twisted your ankle yesterday, now you have to walk with a stick, they can change it. So, because once you are trekking, the trek can actually be anywhere from a few minutes to 2 or 3 hours to get to see the gorilla families, depending on which family you're tracking and which family and where they are, because they do move around a little bit, or quite a lot actually. So it can be anywhere from 45 minutes all the way up to 2 or 3 hours to get to the gorillas. The other great thing is they have from the local communities, they come down every morning, the people from the villages come, and they are there to act as porters. So they will carry purses and bags and backpacks and water bottles and actually they don't carry you, but they really help you a lot. They really give you an amazing helping hand. And Cindy, it's great because right now the cost of a porter is $25. You add that on the day. That money goes directly to the community. None of that comes to us, doesn't go to the law, directly to those people and their community. And you can actually hire up to 4 porters if you wish to do so. So for $100, you've got 4 people who really now are giving you a lot of helping hands, So I don't want to say they're carrying you, but it's that close. So I have seen people on walkers with canes, absolutely able to do this part of the Rwanda trip. There's no reason why they can't do gorilla trekking. The canopy tour is a little different. That's not
Well, yeah.
necessary for everybody. But this part, which is what so many people are looking for, and the traditional safari portion that we talked about at the beginning, these can be done almost by anybody. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. There is a feature they have for the gorilla trekking, and they have what I forget what it's called. It's like a hammock, and so we've even had quadriplegics do this because they can put you in a hammock, and 4 people will carry the hammock up to the gorillas.
Oh, wow.
So it truly is available pretty much to everybody. It's amazing. But
That's
it's
awesome.
all about knowing in advance what we need to have, what needs to be done, and we're going to make it happen for you. There are some great stories about people that have been able to go who thought they would never, ever be able to go and see the gorillas. Yeah, it's truly, actually, I'll tell you a very quickly story. We're running out of time and I need to move on, but we have a wonderful story a few years ago. There was this woman and she was, I think, 88 years old. And it had been her dream to go and see the gorillas, but she had a lot of mobility. So her family called us and they said, is there? And we're like, absolutely, we'll get her to the gorillas. They said, oh, for years she's wanted to go. So we took her up the mountain in one of these hammock style, setups, and she got to see the gorillas. And what's amazing about the story, Cindy, is that she came home and 6 months later she died.
Oh, wow.
Very sad, but at the same time, her family were like, wow, you have no idea how much we appreciate that you got that done for her before she died. What a great experience.
Yeah.
So it's really wonderful. And yeah, it's really, really nice to be able to know that we can have that kind of effect on somebody's life at no matter what stage. So what will happen is you go up in the trek, as I said, you get to the gorillas. You're not allowed to interact with the gorillas, but you'll be amazed how close you're going to be with them. They can interact with you. So particularly the babies, and there's always babies in every family. So the babies get very, curious and whatever, and they will often come over and pull on your pants leg or whatever. We actually don't allow some 50 yards away. You have to take your baseball caps off or any hats off. Sunglasses have to come off because the babies will take them. Like any baby would reach out and pull it. And then they run into the forest and you cannot go after them to retrieve your property. So that all has to stay back. But the baby, and if they do come over and pull you still can't touch them, but they can do whatever they want. And the gorillas rule the roost. When the gorillas say the visit's over, the visit's over. But most people get 45 to 50 minutes. Many people get the full hour, but it's never longer than an hour. It's 1 hour is the maximum for the gorilla trek. But it really is a once in a lifetime experience. It's absolutely
sounds
amazing.
Like it.
Another great highlight is to go and see the golden monkeys in this area. So you can do a trek specifically to see golden monkeys, and this is the only place in the world where you can get to see them. And then there are some great lodging options in this region as well. So what we're looking at here is Sabayinyo Silverback Lodge. It's very, very close to the headquarters for Volcanoes National Park, and it's right in the foothills of the volcanoes. You're going to see in a second just how beautiful this area is. And I love this one. So at African Travel, everything we do is 4 and 5 stars. But we're always looking for something that's a little different, a little unusual within that parameter. And I'm always like, this is like something out of Star Wars. It's
Yeah, right.
really, really cool. I love it. So it's actually set in a natural amphitheater of eroded volcanic rocks. It's really, really cool. And really part of the volcanic code. Now, gone, dormant, dead. But there are only 6 rooms here. So there's only 12 guests in this Bisadi Lodge at any one time.
Wow.
So it's very, very personalized. The service is extraordinary. And then talking of views, wow, so this
That's
is Virunga
amazing.
Lodge up in Volcanoes, right on the top of this mountain. Absolutely glorious. And on one side here, you've got the lake that we can see here. Actually, the other side behind us, there are 7 volcanoes towering over all together. So wherever you are and whichever way you look, it's just absolutely, absolutely stunning. And while you're there, I talked a little bit earlier about the people and how wonderful they are. And there's a great way, you can go and visit some of the communities and get to know about the culture of them and so on, and all the local customs and traditions. And again, how friendly they are. There's a very famous, this place, this Windy Bar is very, very famous. They make some very interesting of their own cocktails that are actually very good. They have really good food there. And it's giving back. It's run by the local community, so every dime you spend there is going back into the community, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And as always, I just like to give a little heads up on seasonality, best times to go, and so on, because as you can see, this is a country with a lot of lush landscape, a
Right.
lot of greenery, a lot of forests and mountains, and so on. So the dry season is from June until October, but even in the dry season, it can rain, because clearly with this kind of foliage and environment, they get a lot of rain every year,
Right.
many inches of rain. But during the dry months, it is a lot drier and so on. The wet season, April and May. Now, Cindy, if you're up for an adventure, this is an adventure, because guess what? It's muddy. It can be a little slippery and slidey. If you like doing that, hey, why not? It's a great way to travel. And it's good because it's actually, of course, a quiet time of the year too. Not so many people are there, so
Right.
scoring permits to go visit the gorillas is much easier at this time of the year. But take your ponchos and whatever, because you will absolutely get wet. And that's
Yeah.
something that we talk about all the time too. When you're planning this trip, we're going to tell you what you need to take and so on, so that they're very well prepared for going.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, not great international connections into Kigali, but terrific connections from other parts of East Africa, particularly from Nairobi and so on. Rwanda Air flies very modern jet service, and they are looking right now at purchasing wide-body jets and looking to fly from Kigali to New York. So that is something that we're waiting to hear. It all got put on. They were looking at it last year, and of course, all got put on hold. But our air desk, as always, knows what's going on, and they know what how to get there and how to move around. Because regionally, you can go by air with the small regional jet that you see on the right-hand side here. As I told you, I love to go in our vehicles and do the land portion, at least to some of it, to see a little bit more of rural Rwanda. And what pairs well? So Rwanda clearly can be a 10-day standalone product now, because of the safari, Kigali, and the primates and the trekking with the gorillas and so on. But if you did want to add something on, my number one choice would be Tanzania. They share a border. It's very easy to go backwards and forwards. There are actually flights that go from the camps in the Serengeti in Tanzania directly into Kigali and into Rwanda. So it can make it very easy to do. And again, our specialists have all of that information. We certainly, of course, have all of the information about the visas that you require. You can get a visa electronically ahead of time, or right now they still allow for you to do it upon arrival. Visas currently are $30 a person. It's all of Africa, almost all of Africa does have malaria. So we certainly can answer questions on anti-malaria or malaria prevention. but always a good idea to talk to your doctor. They are the professionals on this, and they know your history and so on. And so, which, because there are different medications for it, and they will know which would be better for you.
Right.
So, Cindy, I hope we've kind of inspired and make Rwanda look a little bit more, a little bit more enticing, and maybe put it on somebody's radar, because that's what we're here to do. And I know you're sitting by your phone waiting for them to call you,
Yes.
and let us know, because we would love, love, love to see both you and your clients in Rwanda for what is truly an inspirational and a life-changing trip to Africa.
I had no idea how involved it was to go see the gorillas. That's cool, because then you're not having, millions of people up there scaring them and everything. It's very nice that it's so organized. That I just had no idea. So
yeah, a very intimate experience.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. Well, I can see I need to put it on my bucket list a little bit higher.
Absolutely. I mean, after the 3 sessions we've done, I think they're all high on the bucket list now, right?
Oh my God, you have no idea. It's you are inspiring with your photos, everything. It's just
Oh, great. Thank you. I love it. I just love it. I just wish I could take gather everybody together right now and let's go, because
I know.
it would be great. But
It would
hopefully
be-
soon. And
Oh.
the countries are open. It is possible to go. So they are
Well,
open for travel.
if we open a little more, things will be good. So fingers
Absolutely.
crossed for sure.
Absolutely. Cool.
Well, Kevin, thank you for joining me again today. I appreciate it. I loved your presentation. Like I said, your photos always just blow my mind. It looks like the animals just jump out and grab you. They look
Yes.
so beautiful. So they're gorgeous. So have a great rest of your day, and thank you again. It's been
My
fun.
pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.